Really? Is he even doing any kind of pastoral work?
Just a figurehead.
And Mike does all of it.
Mike and a couple other pastors.
I mean, do they want Tom to retire? Or they just let him stay? Is he disruptive in leadership? Or he just kind of lost his mind? I hate to hear that.
You're sharp as a tack.
I hate to hear that, man.
And like I said, I think it's a curse, but I haven't been praying about it and seeing if we can take care of that.
Well, I'm sorry. It's a pretty good sized congregation, too, isn't it?
Real sad.
Does Steve go to church there too, Steve Morris? Okay, I thought he did, yeah. I thought he did. I'm sorry to hear that. I hadn't seen Tom in a long time. I always liked him. He's a nice guy. Gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it is. Because you knew I was, right? It is definitely here.
That's my magistrate comments.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, who's building your that deck and a porch you're building?
He's from, he's from Powell County. He's from Esco County.
He's east of the Lubbock Road.
Right.
Somewhere.
Yes. But is not being, he's working on it one day, and one day he's having a heart attack and got this hospital.
Oh my goodness.
It all has to do.
But it ended up not being, but this crazy weather's been so hot, they can't do it.
Yeah, you should not in that kind of heat.
I don't want him to get out there and.
Don't blame me. Exactly. Hurry up and get my deck done. Did you say east of that?
East of the Lubbock Road, you know, Lubbock Road Creek that divides Clark and Powell County.
It is the,
You're welcome to leave it there.
No.
I just want to make sure I
No,
was
that's yours.
out of your way.
no, I need you to sign that.
There's Wayno.
That's yours.
I didn't either. I was hoping that was going to change. It's a big deal. It's a long minute.
There you go.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Thursday, August 24th Fiscal Court meeting. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and Madam Clerk will call the roll.
Managers Craycraft,
Present.
Pasley,
Present.
Constantopoulos.
Present.
Blanton.
Here.
Davis.
Present.
And Miller.
Present.
Magistrate Miller will do our invocation this evening, and please remain standing for the pledge.
Father, we thank you for this opportunity to be here tonight. We thank you for the business that we're going to talk about. Give us wisdom and guidance on the right decisions to make that you would have us make. We pray, Father, also for this county, that you would continue to prosper it, that you would continue to make it a light in this area, that you would be able to make us work together, that we can get things done. And we ask it all in Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing on the agenda, item number 5 is going to be public comments, and we have Bonnie Hardy.
Be a little tall for me, but that's okay. You can hear me anyway. Oh, I don't need it really. Oh, okay.
Try that.
1, 2.
There you go.
Okay. My name's Bonnie Hardy, and of course I live on Elkin Station Road. And you might recognize me because I'm retired from the Clark County Clerk's office over right across the hall. I am here to let you know a little history about our road. When we moved down on Elkin Station, it was in 1975. there were approximately 13 homes there at that time. And now approximately 50 homes or more are there. We have lots and lots of traffic, lots in the night, lots in the day, and our road is in very bad repair and needs to be repaved. We've had several patches, but the patches don't get it because they come right out. Last time it was paved was when Johnny Myers was county judge executive. And I remember that because that's about the time I retired, and that's been 20 years ago. My request is for our road, and by the way, a few of Elkin Station residents are here. And of course, some of them are kin to me, that's correct, and you probably know them. And we would appreciate our road being scheduled to be paid in the very near future. Are there any plans in the near future for our road to be paid, or if so, when? Now, that doesn't have to be answered now, but I would like an answer. And then, has any one of you been on our road recently? Have you ever been down it to look at it or see it or whatever? I don't know Mr. Pasley, but I think he's our magistrate. Have you ever been down our road?
Several times, yes, ma'am.
Several times.
Your road's a topic of discussion at the road committee.
Thank you. And another little piece of information that I didn't know about, but it maybe needs to be known. We had a tree that went down on our road during the weekend. And I couldn't get a hold to the road department. I couldn't get a hold to the sheriff. And that's the two people I thought that I had to call. But our road was blocked. You couldn't get, nobody could get in, and one person had to get their medicine. And we couldn't get out, but we didn't need to be out. But if anybody of the fire department or ambulance service needed to come, my husband has had a heart attack, so, you know, they might have needed to be there for him. And so I called the road department, and I found this information out that I did not know, and I've never seen it anywhere down, anywhere for you to do. But if the public needs the road department, or to be cleared for the trees, or something that has blocked the road, you call dispatch. And that number is 859-745-7400. I don't know whether y'all knew that information or not. I certainly did. But I found that out. However, thanks to friends and family, we were able to unblock the road, and just to let people know who called in this situation, and we got it clear. So I appreciate all the ones that did that, and we got it done, and we got the gentleman that needed his medicine. But, you know, if everybody else is in that situation, we have a dead-end road. So there isn't any worse going out when you're blocked. You're gonna be blocked. So you don't have the other way of coming in. So just, that was a piece of information. But we would appreciate our road being considered. Thank you.
Ma'am, can I ask you one question?
Uh-huh.
Is it the entire road or just sections of the road?
Well, it would be nice if it could be all paved,
Mhm.
because it's been so long. And there's pieces on each side that has just crumbled out. And then, of course, there's several sections that are really bad, and the road department does the best they can, that they can patch here and patch there, but a few rains, back out again, the hole is there, and people has busted their tires and everything.
But is it mainly the part of the road on the top of the hill?
That is the worst part.
That's the worst part?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
And then close to us is another part.
okay.
When it was first reported to a road person, it was about maybe like this. And now it's about, I'd say a 12 by 4 foot.
Where's that at?
That's close to us on the Elkin Station, 2593.
Is it past you?
No, back this way.
Okay.
So I think the water, you know, after the water comes, and it just digs it out, people that pass back and forth in the road See, our drive is where the bus turns around. So it gets a good lick every day, about 4 times.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the only name on the list. One of the things we're doing adding on, I guess, doing a little bit different. From now on, we're going to try to have the next section is going to be for our department heads to make comments. And it's kind of ironic in a way, but our road supervisor has actually put together a good presentation, and I think everybody should have it in front of you. And he's going to give us a little education here on the road situation.
Alan, before you get started on that, what was the length on that road that she's at? Do you have any idea?
2.783 miles, I believe,
Okay, thank you.
off the top of my head.
Yeah,
It's 2.7 something.
Something.
Might be 3.8.
okay, thank you.
And when you call the road department on our voicemail, the number for dispatch is there. So if you call the road department, part of our automated voicemail, we'll direct you to call dispatch to.
It didn't work.
So dispatch typically notifies me 24/7. I was never notified, or we would have been.
Okay, she had just mentioned that didn't connect
I'll
into that.
check the voicemail, but I actually had somebody program it and everything, so.
Perfect.
It's been a while since I've heard my own voicemail.
Sure.
So it used to be on there.
Thank you.
And Elkins Station was paid in 2001, was the last record of it being paid. So everybody should have, I don't want to go through every slide, but let's start briefly. I'd emailed a lot of the magistrates because, road concerns are first and foremost the thing that we deal with at the county road department. So a brief breakdown, because we have some new faces they don't really know, and members of the community may not know. There's a little over 588 miles of roadway in Clark County. Over 215 of it is county road miles. We're the largest road system. In District 1, which was Daniel Constantopoulos, he has 65.5 miles total. 24.3 of those are county road miles, making up 162 named roads. 88 of those are county roads. That's how large his district is. Ernest Pazin in District 2 has 162 miles of roads. 81.4 of those are county road miles. He has 218 roads, and 83 of those are county roads. District 3, Magistrate Craycraft has 183.4 miles of road. 68.1 of those are county roads. 198 of them are named roads. 77 of those are county roads. Magistrate Miller, you have 87.88 miles of all roads. This is state, federal, city, private, unnamed alleys, county roads, all of them. You have 14.7 miles of county road, 262 named roads, which 37 of those are county roads. District 5 is Magistrate Davis. You have 28.56 total miles. 8.5 of those are county miles. You have 116 named and unnamed roads, 34 of which are county roads. Magistrate Blanton has 36 miles of total roads. He has 0 in county miles. He has 181 named roads, 0 are county roads. So that gives you a brief overview of what the 14 employees face on a daily basis. After we pave a road, I'm going to give you a couple of brief examples. Sewell Shop was paved in 2019. A gentleman decided to take a tractor, leave his disc down, and go right down the road the minute we paved it. A little over $200,000 paving job. A dozer with steel tracks just went down 4 Mile 2 days ago. An excavator tracked half of Red River. An ATV, the minute the roller passed their house on Bailey Lane, an ATV pulled out and decided they wanted to turn around and twist the brand new blacktop road. On Hollow Road, after we paved the hill, somebody decided they wanted to log some sections, drug an 18-wheeler and bulldozers right up that hill within a week of us fixing it. Bobby Road, a dozer tracked all over the top of the hill, and I followed it out into the field and took pictures of it and called the company. There's another road, I can't remember the name of it right now, off of Grimes Mill. I forgot to write it down. Excavator done the same thing. They unloaded it at the church up at Grimes Mill, tracked it down the county road all the way to the end so they could tear down a house. And then we've got the internet guys that are tearing everything up. So that's what we're dealing with, this county road department. So if you would, like I said, I don't want to go through all this. A lot of this is just how we're funded. We're funded from state. We don't use county property taxes. We are not funded that way. The only thing the general fund and property taxes do is pay the health insurance for the road department. That's it. Outside of that, we are funded from the motor fuel tax, and that's how we get paid. That's how we fund our projects. Flex funding is our largest fund, which is anywhere from $120,000 to $135,000 a year, and it's not guaranteed. There's no KRS, no laws that govern that. If the state runs short on project money, they can take our flex funding. It's not happened in recent memory, but that doesn't mean that it can. This year we have $129,000 and change. Our road committee, which is Magistrate Craycraft and Magistrate Passage, they have some excellent ideas that I believe the residents of Elkins Station will probably be happy with. I have submitted Elkins Station for the last, I think, 3 years in a row for discretionary payment. It's been denied every single time. We've got 80/20 funds that are reimbursements. So, in a nutshell, the state has this large pot of money that they get off the motor fuel tax, and then they divvy it up using something called the Fiscal formula and divvy it out. If you look at slide number 6, the pie chart, the state and all of its road network has a little over 22,000 miles, and they get 52% of the funding. Counties have almost 41,000 miles, and we get 18.5% for the county road. The cost per mile goes up every single year. If we paved it last year, it would have been cheaper, and we say that every single year. But unfortunately, as this goes on, you'll understand why. Typical county road, we hope, is 16 foot wide. Some of them are. Takes about 850 tons of asphalt per mile at a rough raw cost of roughly $70,000 per mile. That doesn't include any prep work, changing out culverts, cutting shoulders, fixing base failures, any milling, anything like that. So by the time it's all said and done, off of the recent estimate that I got less than, 2 weeks ago, we're looking at anywhere from $103 to $112 per ton, making the real world cost as of today, if I blacktop, $91,000 per mile on a county road. I've already covered slide number 8. Number 9 is just budgeting. Number 10, I think, is where you'll probably figure out the most. So the county road funds we talked about are made up of county road aid, municipal road aid, truck licensing distribution fee, flex funds, state bridge funds, and a driver's license refund. All in all, on average, totals $1.4 million. By the time we pay labor, buy our road salt for the winter, which the guys do a phenomenal job. Wintertime, we are constantly getting compliments on our weather response. Is it perfect? No, but it's a lot better than a lot of places. By the time we buy the fuel for the trucks, the flex funds goes back out in paving that we use every year, our existing payments, some that I inherited, new trucks, things of that nature, turn our lights on, make the toilets flush, pay our retirement and our FICA, our taxes, 1.234. So we come in with 1.476, we go out with 1.234. That leaves $242,100 to repair equipment, purchase any shop supplies, buy parts, buy our hydraulic oils, motor oils, employee training, match 20% of any emergency crest or bridge replacements, patch potholes, install culverts, replace equipment or trucks, buy gravel, pour concrete, or use tree contractors for things that we can't handle in-house. That's about $20,000 a month. Sounds like a lot of money to an individual. But when you have 15 employees dealing with 200 and some odd miles of road, over 400 and some odd miles of right-of-way, it's not very much money. Keep in mind, paving a county road, $91,000 per mile. So if we didn't turn a wrench or do anything but the bare minimum, at best, we could pave 3.5 miles. At best. That does not include any discretionary requests, which I write every single year. Those are attached in the back. And as you can see, Elkin Station is on that one, and that was turned in September 21st of 2022. And that's a redundant request. Elkin Station was road number 1, priority. Next slide, if you, page 11. If you look at the roads we paved in the last 4 years, there's 42 roads that we paved. Only about 4 or 5 of those were patch paving. We're talking end-to-end paving. Stretched 37.25 miles. That's like a record. I have employees that have worked there over 20 years. And they have never seen that before until 2019 to now. So we're averaging 9.31 miles per year. If we were to get an additional $685,000 per year, which everyone in this room knows is not feasible, that means the governor gives me $685,000 in a discretionary request every single year for the next 24 years. We would still be on a 24 to 25-year paving cycle. Pavement doesn't last 25 years. It just doesn't. Trash trucks weigh in excess of 80,000 pounds. She mentioned the school bus twisting and turning at the end of her road. Then you've got damages that happen. People that forget to pull their R's up and just decide they want to plow a county road. You know, accidents happen. It's just not feasible. So if we use today's price, it would take $19,565,000 to pave every road on the Clark County Road Department's list. Keep in mind, we get $1.4 million a year to do it all. Pay salaries, buy trucks, put fuel in them, salt, mow, take care of trees, put up signs, and we're constantly taking on more roads. I'd say here within the next month or two, you've got 2 complete subdivisions that are going to be coming to the court asking you to adopt them in. So the reality is we have more of a 50 to 60 year paving cycle due to the rising costs and availability of funds. There are roads in this county that we know have not seen pavement since the 70s. And we're doing everything we can. We put over 60 tons of blacktop out of our hot box on Dry Fork Road. And you can go through there and knock on doors and no one can remember that road ever being blacktop. If only flex funds are used, it would take 150 years to take care of the roads that are currently on our list. Page 12 is just a cost comparison, so you can look. Everything that we use has almost doubled. Asphalt went from $86 a ton to $111 a ton. Stone, $9.85 a ton, $14.25 a ton. Salt, when I came here in 2019, $63 a ton, $130 a ton. Fuel, $3 a gallon, 4, got up to almost 6 last summer. Labor was 14, now it's 17. But here's the kicker. The county road aid dollars in 2019 was $812,000. In 2024, $880,000. Went up $68,000. So everything's going up except for that. And then the last 2 pages there are the discretionary request that is currently sitting in Frankfurt, waiting on a yes or a no. And then the last page, was some patchwork that we desperately need to do on White Turley, Hecton Road, and of course Elkin Station. That's what it costs. Are there any questions?
When will we hear about the discretionary request?
Well, I emailed her, July 1st, and I haven't heard anything, so it's, that's just a hit and miss.
And on the last page where we've got the White and Turley patch, the Ecton Road patch, and the Elkin Station, this is just doing halfway to the tunnel. The 293, which is
That's
more than
everything.
$50,000 over what we have to use. Does that include the slips that we're having to pay?
No.
No.
So, I mean, we've got 2 road slips that you gentlemen approved, last meeting or the one before, and we have to pay 20% of that, and that's gonna come in somewhere, $30,000-$40,000 that comes out of county road aid. And, that's what I was mentioning, we got, $240,000 a year, and then those 20% come due, that's a big number. That's a big number. So, and that Elkin Station, that's paving the entire road all the way to the end. But we can't afford, that's $258,000 to go to, Miss Hardy's bus turnaround. I mean, that's a lot. 10 years ago, that would've cost probably $120,000. So the longer we wait, the more it costs, but the funds just aren't there. I mean, we're trying to eat an elephant, but it just keeps growing stale back.
Alan, these 2 subdivisions you mentioned that may be coming to us to take their roads in, and I know which one of them is, but have they been in contact with you and keeping up with county road standards on our
Yes.
ordinance and building them to spec, to county
We've
specs, I
done
mean?
multiple inspections, proof rolls, things like that. And that's another thing, I'm glad you brought that up. Subdivisions, you can drive through Stony Brook or, somewhere like there, and it's not been paved in probably 30 years either, since it was built in the 90s. But the difference is they were built to a specification. Everybody here's drove down the interstate and seen them rebuilding a section of it, seen this much stone, this much asphalt. County road started out as a cattle trail, a horse and buggy, and somebody said, hey, let's put some blacktop on it.
Yeah.
We have literally cut in the roads, and it'd be that much blacktop, maybe that much stone, and then dirt. And you got 80,000-pound trash trucks running up and down.
Pioneer days, some of
So
them.
there's, they're not built to a specification. We can't afford to build them to a specification. So the best we do, we call it painting the road, because we're going back at 1.5 inches, which is all we can afford, which is better than what was done previously at 1 inch, but it's still, that's why pavement is not gonna last 25 years.
Well, if we did, just hypothetically, if we did at some point go ahead and start tackling Elkin Station, would it be wiser than trying to do basically a thin job through the whole 2.7 miles, do one section at a time, but do it right, do everything you need to do?
My recommendation, and I drive that road a lot, I know people that live on that road.
Too.
My recommendation is pave it to the tunnel, to the far side of the tunnel. And, we'll fix base failures, we'll change any pipes, we'll do whatever we need to do. But that is the worst section of the road, is to pave it to the tunnel. I think we can use, if the recommendation is to use our flex funds, we've got enough money to do that, and it won't really kill me in county road aid, because, we have to expend money too to fix
Right.
all that stuff prior to that. So you're looking at probably about $135,000 just for the Allen Company to come in and put down 1.5 inches. And then we've got to do all the prep work to that, and then if there's any shoulder work and things of that after they get done.
Alan, what would you mention that the road committee, y'all had worked on something and had maybe a plan, I don't know, that they come up with, what is your?
Magistrate Pazzi, care to speak to that? It's your district.
Yes. We had discussed the county road department doing the prep work and then spending the $130 with the Allen Company and trying to get it paid to the tunnel. Otherwise, we're against the wall. We either wait till next year and hope that we get some money from the state, or we do the half. And in my driving, I'm not gonna say the roads that I drive and own land on in the county, like Alan mentioned, the trash trucks and the internet people have tore them all to pieces. And it's sad that we're gonna have to endure this the next 30, 40 years to get all of our roads paid back in the condition they were. But the worst part is, you know, that from Dr. Bishop's to where you drop off, and then there's a real bad place in the tunnel. And if I look at it as though I live on there, and if I lived on it, you know, half would be better than waiting till next year or the next year to see if we get any money or not. You know, next year is an election year, and, you know, who knows? Or the year after election year, we don't know whether we'll get any money or not. So
We got 0 in
being that we didn't get
discretionary
any this year, I'd say, you know, we pay you half of it and go on. And with that, I would offer a motion to the court that we take our flex funds and we pave to the tunnel of Elk Station Road.
That's contingent upon KYTC approval. I submit the forms, we give them the road name, the mileage points, start and stop. They send their van out with their signs, stuff.
Should we submit the form before we try to take a vote on it?
I think it's 6 half one way, half dozen the other.
I'd amend my motion to say upon approval from the
KYTC.
Kentucky, Transportation Code.
I'd second that.
What I'd like to try to do in the future is, I mean, we'll go ahead and do this, but is try to get us away from spur of the moment voting and motion, because the people that are not here don't have a chance to comment or voice their opinion. So what I'd like to try to get us to where when we have a motion that we want to present, we can do it, schedule it for the next meeting. That way it'll be on the agenda and everyone knows about it ahead of time. So anyway, we have a motion, Magistrate Pasley, and a second by Magistrate Craycraft. Any further discussion on that?
What was the total cost to get it to the tunnel?
Just an asphalt cost,
Yeah.
it's gonna be right at 130 to 132,000, depending on how the final tonnage comes out. I mean, you can't do it exact, it's like, you know, buying a
Sure.
gallon of paint, trying to say how far it's gonna cover. You just don't know till you put it on the wall.
Sure, sure. And how much do you think it's gonna cost the road department to do their part?
We'll probably spend 10,000, 15,000. Just depends on pipes and stuff like that.
I mean, I'll support the motion. I know that I've been on the court for this is the 9th year. And, I mean, I know it's been talked about many times. I've had many conversations with the Hardys in regards to it. I know you've submitted, I mean, everybody submitted for Elkin Station for discretionary, and we just haven't been lucky enough to get it. So, I mean, this is something that needs to be done. And, you know, if we've got the ability to do it with the flex funds, I support that.
I guess the one thing that does bother me, and I'm not speaking out against this, but we've got a lot of roads in the county that are in bad shape. Is there any mechanism, is there anything that the county that we can do? I mean, can we use general fund money on the roads? I mean, how do we, people maybe at home or whatever, they're watching this and they're thinking, well, next time we'll go in there and present our case and we'll get our road paved. What do we tell those people?
Tell them to watch this meeting and see how the funding is, and they'll understand the money's not there.
Well, I know, and that's what I'm saying, you know, do we give it all to one person, or do we, I mean, I don't have an answer, I'm asking questions.
I guess based on the list, I mean, it's been the #1 road on the list for quite some time. Is it in one of the worst shapes of roads that we
Yeah,
have?
sections of it. I mean, you know, we do have roads that But I will say this, you know, if I go back and count the work orders, we're gonna have the most work orders on Elkin Station. We're gonna have the most complaints on Elkin Station, and those have to factor in.
And then also how many people live on the road makes a difference too, right?
It
So
does.
this one's
Well,
got,
the state's gonna assess all that.
Right.
They do rideability, how many homes and businesses are affected. I mean, they've got a grading scale that they use.
So what do they approve or disapprove?
Whether or not you can use the flex funds to put it on that road,
For the whole distance or for a certain distance or,
any of the above.
now, is that what, District 7 in Lexington?
Yes.
So we're making it recommended that we would like to use the flex funds
Correct.
on that road, but ultimately, they're gonna be the determining factor.
Correct.
So the state could say it doesn't meet the they come out and inspect it. If I'm understanding correctly, they'll come out
Howard
and
Street
inspect
was
it.
turned down. I tried to use flex one year for Howard Street, and it was turned down. They said, no, you can't use it on that. It's a dead end road, didn't have enough homes, yada, yada, yada. So they were like, no, you can't use flex funds. So inevitably, you gotta remember when Casey Smith, the engineer, came to this very room and gave his flex funding presentation, at the end of that meeting, we either vote, you either vote to give that money back to District 7, or you vote to keep it and use it to apply on county roads. So that's where the fund originates. So they're gonna be the ones that get to say, hey, spend it, inevitably. That's how it works. And that's why I sent everybody a list of your county roads along with those numbers. Because I wanna work on a ranking system to where it's not just me. I want magistrates involved, I want the judge involved, I want you guys to say, hey, these are the 3 worst roads that I need looked at in my district, and then we'll collectively figure out how to start ranking these.
But we're not unique. We're like every other county.
Every other
And
county.
that's partly because the way the gas tax is funded and more electric vehicles, and this goes to the legislature every session, and it never gets through, and it never passed. You were there last, it was brought up numerous times when you was there, but, that is the inherent problem, is the whole funding mechanism, that we only get a portion of the bigger piece of the pie, because the state legislature won't fund it any other way than has been done for who knows how long. I can't remember when that was passed.
Well, just say you didn't have a road department and that $1.4 million came in, and you decided to use that, just give it straight to the Allen Company or whoever the highest bidder, the lowest bidder, however you wanted to do it. You're still looking at 15, 18 years before you can pave all your roads.
And the biggest part about that whole gas tax is the way that they divvy it out.
Exactly,
A lot of it
exactly.
goes discretionary.
Exactly,
And so when
exactly.
it goes discretionary,
The
then
whole
politics-
formula, from the way they collect it to the way they
politics-
divvy it out, the whole thing is,
Yeah, it's not allocated based on the county's needs.
people,
It's all
you know,
political, and some counties
people
get a
need to
bigger
vote for the
portion.
people who's gonna change it to where it's equitable for,
That's
for,
page 2 of
for
your
our
slide.
citizens.
How it's divvied out.
Exactly.
Because, 1 year we got a big load, and then we haven't seen any for the last 4 years.
Exactly.
I mean, we all care about our community, we all wanna see nice roads, but inevitably, snow's gotta get pushed, trees gotta be taken care of, signs gotta be put up, right-of-ways gotta be mowed, there's a whole lot of things that go into this. And blacktop is by far the most expensive endeavor we have. Any more questions for me, gentlemen?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
We got a motion on, go ahead, sorry.
let's go ahead and vote, and then we can talk about it.
yeah, call the question.
Okay,
Call the question.
who made the motion? Okay.
No, I second
Craycraft and Pasley.
Pasley first.
Oh, Pasley and Craycraft.
Pasley
Yeah.
made the
Yeah.
motion.
Was it Presley and Craig Rapp?
Yeah, Pasley and Craycraft.
Okay. So the motion is to pave Elkin Station Road down to the bridge, or the tunnel, pending Kentucky Transportation Cabinet approval, using the flex funds.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, before you leave, I got a question for you. I was out on White and Turley today, and I can see where either you all patched or the contractor patched the area that we got the calls about. But I'd like for you to explain to me about the thing about trees in the right-of-way. I was really surprised to find out that trees in the right-of-way you cannot touch. Is that correct? And on the county roads in the right-of-ways?
Yeah, I mean, we don't own them. We don't own that. I mean, we actually mow, I don't wanna use the word as a courtesy, we do it as a safety concern for line of sight, visibility around curves and intersections, things of that nature.
I didn't know that you don't own the right of way.
No, it's just the right of way.
And that's 100% different than the state. The state owns the right of way. You put something in
No,
there,
no,
and they, oh, you don't know.
I don't know how
Go-
they, I mean, I spent, probably an hour this morning looking up KRSs, and I responded to that gentleman.
yeah.
And I cited 2 KRSs.
Yeah.
And I have the number.
Yeah, they're-
I CC'd you in the email.
Yeah, I see
It
that.
specifically says,
There's a
property owners own, they have to remove obstructions.
there's a really large one, maybe an ash tree or something, just
Right.
right on the road, but you're not allowed to go in there and take that out.
Worst cussing I ever got was over trying to cut somebody's tree down that they didn't want cut down.
But yet they call you when it falls on the road.
Exactly, well, because we have to keep the road
Yeah,
open,
yeah.
once again, for the public.
What
That-
about
that
limbing trees that are
surprises
hanging over?
That's, in my opinion, I don't believe that's our responsibility, because once again, we don't own that tree. And, I mean, we literally have people come out and start cussing us for cutting limb
I
off
know.
of a tree.
I've never had a discussion with you, but I've had it with the previous road supervisors,
You will
and,
get,
and that,
it's not fun.
it's much
We
easier
try
to,
to explain to them, but,
much easier to take it down if you know it's gonna fall down as opposed to going out at 1 o'clock in the morning in a storm.
Yeah, you
So
catch- you
correct me
catch
if
the
I'm
blame
wrong.
for it if it falls, but yet they won't let you trim
yeah,
it
the
off.
minute it touches the road, I guess it's fair game, for lack of a better term, we gotta do our thing, but,
We're responsible for 15 feet from the center of the road, is that correct? Out on most county roads?
That's the right of way on most roads.
Okay. And anything past that, we can't touch? It's literally illegal for us to do that?
Yeah, that's considered private property at that point, it's no longer a right of way.
Okay.
I can go to jail.
Alan, are we on I know we've mentioned several times about the internet problems that we've had where they're boring underneath and push a big rock, and we're keeping
We're
documentation
documenting,
and all
I'm
that, so
emailing
we can.
pictures to myself, and, yeah, we're doing the best we can, but we can't keep up. I talked to the East Clark County Water, and I mean, they're doing several hundred locates a week. I mean, you just can't keep up with those guys. So the damage that is just one of the things.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Chief, we have one more department head.
I'll be brief, sir. Yesterday, we participated in an event we called Wet Down Wednesday in the public. And I just wanted to thank our partners, WMU and the Winchester Fire Department. We believe it was very successful. We had about 900 to almost 1,000 participants of adults and children at 8 different locations to the community. Captain Brock came up with the idea, so I want to give him credit for that. But most of all, I want to thank the public. They're the ones that made the event happen, and it was very successful. And we're just thankful to have been part of that. So thanks to the community, they did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is going to be approval of the minutes for August the 9th.
So moved.
Have a motion by Magistrate Davis.
Second.
Second by Magistrate Miller. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do. I've got something on the third page. With the appointment of Zach Pasley. That's correct, but the language with regarding Ms. Moore should say the same. It says appointing her to the Chamber of Commerce Association Tourism Commission. I would suggest that, if you want to put representing the Chamber of Commerce on the Winchester Clark County Recreational and Tourism Convention Commission. It probably doesn't make any difference, but if you're going to do it for one motion, you probably ought to do it for both. Just a personal preference. It really probably doesn't make any difference in the minutes, but it's just not totally correct. So just an observation if you want to change it.
Can you say that one more time, Robert?
I think Michelle understood it. You need to get the title correct of the Winchester Clark County Recreational and Tourism Commission, the same in the second motion as it was in the first, and that's, yeah, well,
Okay.
but that's the correct name, I believe.
So
That's all I had, that's all I had.
have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
Yes.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8 is to consider approval of the minutes for August the 16th.
Motion approved.
Have a
Second.
motion by Magistrate Blanton, and a second by
Second.
Magistrate Miller. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, you have is to consider approval of the transfer list.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Constantopoulos, second by Magistrate Blanton. Any discussion?
Judge, I'd like to add, this will be the third jail transfer in under 4 months. This transfer extrapolates out to $2.2 million, which is $1 million over budget. We just had a discussion what we could do with $1 million on roads.
Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Okay, motion carries. Next item is going to be number 10, the bills transfer list.
Just the bills
I'm
list.
sorry, bills list.
Judge, I noticed there was a supplemental bills list that was added to our desk. Has your office been preparing these to clear that all line items are sufficient for those new bills that were added?
Yeah, I think what's happening is the bills get in and we're trying to, because of the court dates, to make sure that we can get them paid on time. That's what's causing some of that.
Yeah, I'm okay with the supplemental bills list. I just want to make sure that your staff has verified that the line items are available since it's
As far as I know.
Okay.
Is there one in question?
No,
Okay,
I'm just making sure since it's a new list that was added.
okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Magistrate Constantopoulos, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Blanton. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11 is your pre-authorization bill, your list. The item number 12 is going to be the county treasurer's report for the month of July. Number 13 is a note in minutes for just the Monday morning memo from the Winchester Clark County Industrial Authority for the week of July 31st, 2023. Then we have number 14, a note in the minutes for September the 2023 anniversary increases. Just one, actually. Just trying to pass on some more information. Item number 15 is a note in the minutes for the Kentucky River Foothills Transit ridership report.
I have a question about that. I don't know if there's anybody here to answer it. Of course, you know, I understand why in fiscal year 20 and 21, 22, it dropped off like crazy. But fiscal year 23, we're still less than half of what we were before COVID. Does anybody have an explanation for that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah.
So we're at 5904 for this year, and we were at 12,561 and 10,018. Just wonder if anybody had an explanation for that.
We'll see if
That's
Jasmine can get you an answer to that.
That's a good catch. If we can maybe have an answer at the next meeting. Over-
Well, I mean, you can look at it too, that if you go back to 11, and down. It seems like it stayed pretty consistent. And then once it peaked at 17, it consistently dropped to 10 to 9, and then COVID happened, which dropped it out the bottom. But it was already as a trend already sweeping down anyway, so there's something going on maybe besides even COVID.
And you've also got, if you believe what they've said the last couple of years, you've got a lot of people that dropped out of the workforce and never went back. Maybe that has something.
Or working
I don't
from
know.
home.
And I think they had a bus that went to Lexington. I don't think they're doing that anymore.
Are they not?
I don't think so.
It used to meet at Walmart, I think, didn't it?
I don't think they're doing that anymore.
Used to be one.
It used to meet at Walmart and go to Lexington, but I think they stopped doing that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
Would you like a report from the Kentucky River Foothills?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. We need to look at that.
Nice to hear their assessment of why it's
Yeah.
less than half.
Okay. Next item is it was their monthly report from the Winchester Clark County Parks and Recreation. I was going through it, I just thought, it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I thought, well, for the new guys here especially, I just had them go ahead and put that in the packet. Item number 17 is consider an order of the Clark County Fiscal Court approving the salary for Mary Blevins as the Director of Finance and / Assistant Treasurer for Clark County.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Magistrate Constantopoulos and a second by Magistrate Blanton.
That was by Magistrate Pasley.
I'm sorry, Magistrate Pasley had a motion. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And
Welcome.
now we
Welcome.
have two Marys. As I was informed, we're not sure how we're going to separate them, but we're going to.
Mary Mack.
Mary B.
Mary Mack.
There you go. So,
Mary Mack.
welcome aboard.
When's your first official day? Monday.
No, welcome.
Item number 18 is to consider an order of the Clark County Fiscal Court to appoint Taylor Kincaid to the Chamber of Commerce Association Tourism Commission.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Magistrate Blanton. I will second the motion. And actually, I was told that Taylor Kincaid is here if there were to be any questions.
Yep, I think I'd like some questions answered.
You like some questions?
Sure. If she want to come up.
Is she here? There we go. Don't be too nervous.
That's okay. Hi, Ms. Taylor. A real quick question. I know that one of the requirements that the Tourism Board has stressed recently that they wanted to make sure that you had some type of a tourism-type experience where you could filter into that. Just wanted to hear from yourself. I know you're 25 years of age, and I'd just like to hear what tourism experience that you've got or what you're bringing to that.
So I have a lot of background in small businesses, local businesses. So I've worked with a few in Lexington, and I'm working here at Harkness Edwards Vineyards in Winchester. So my background is in like small businesses and helping those grow and succeed. So not as much tourism, but it's more like the local focus.
Okay.
And bringing people into those local businesses. Sorry.
Would you like to add to that, Cindy?
I think there's a lot of out-of-town people that visit the vineyard, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely, yes. We just started a Harkness like host program, and so we have RVs and campers that come out there from all over the country, and they stay on our property and they get to experience Winchester while they're here.
So it's really a tourism destination is what you're really saying.
Yeah, the agritourism for sure.
But you're just working there, right? You're not really actually promoting it or bringing people into it. Is that correct?
So I'm doing their marketing,
Okay.
Director of marketing there. So I am trying to bring in as many people as I can through social media channels, news. We were just on WKYT, excuse me.
That's okay.
WKYT
That's okay.
a couple weeks ago, promoting a launch party that we had up there. So I am trying to drive customers as well.
Okay. Thank you.
That's like that, the vineyard is one of the best tourism sites in Kentucky. So she's doing a great job. She's young, she's energetic, she brings a lot of background. She even has some family ties to the book, but it's great to see her, and
It is good to see some young people involved.
she's not afraid to get out there. It is a great tourism attraction. And she's very active in trying to get people out there, and once they're there, she entertains them and makes them want to come back.
Yes, absolutely.
Any further questions?
I know that we've had, recently, in the past, and I know this is kind of a sore subject, but they, during the time of the Beer Cheese Festival, there was a T-shirt put out that was, people kind of got offended about, and some people didn't get offended about. But what's your viewpoint on that?
I think that anything Winchester related, we're trying to push Winchester. So when we, I think I'm not a graphic designer. I don't do designs. I'm not sure about that. I just think anything promoting Winchester is a good thing.
Right. Do you think that it should be paid, for instance, if a person's graphic designing and they're working on the payroll of the city or the state, or excuse me, the county, that they should be doing something that's considered a what's what I'm looking for, an ideology or an agenda from a marginalized group?
I don't think that. I'm sorry. Can you rephrase that?
I guess what I'm saying is that there's a lot of people that don't feel that it was definitely a pride shirt. We say that it's not, but everyone appears that even the pride people say that it was. But I was just curious. On people were asking me is, should we be paying county money for someone to either design it or whatever, even time to do that? And I just was curious on what you thought about that.
I just don't think that there should be other political ties in the tourism. It should just be focused on solely bringing people to Winchester and highlighting all of the great things that Winchester has to offer.
Right, but I was wanting specifically on the area of the pride type shirt. Is I guess what I'm asking, because that's what people are asking me, and I just like to know what to tell them.
No one was paid to do it. It wasn't paid through any kind of tax money.
Okay,
The shirts paid for themselves.
okay. Oh, no, it's okay. That was the answer that I can give. I just need an answer to be able to give to my constituents. That's all I'm asking.
Any
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
So how do you feel you're qualified for this job? Tough question, I know.
I live here in Winchester. I
Do you?
work here in Winchester. I love Winchester. I grew up here. My grandfather was involved in Winchester.
Gene Kincaid
Yes,
was
sir.
your grandfather, he was mayor,
Yes, sir.
Winchester, yes.
Yes, and then my dad served on the ethics board here in Winchester as well.
Yeah.
So I love Winchester. I lived in Philadelphia for a couple years and I moved straight back. I missed it with everything in me. So I have a really big passion, and I think that passion for our town and our city can be translated to other people. I can show them the same glory that I see in our place.
Okay.
Well, I think you're doing an excellent job promoting the vineyard. I see it all the time. So I saw it on TV the other day, and there's always a post, and I think you're doing an excellent job of bringing, and I go by that way occasionally. You can see how busy it is. So it's a remarkable, it's a helpful business. It does bring a lot of tourism to Winchester. So there's no question that is a destination for many people. I don't know where they come from, but you always see people out there.
Yeah, I've been told by our owner and other employees of the vineyard that it's only gotten exponentially busier since I started. So I'm really excited about that.
I think
I
that.
have to say, Ms. Kincaid reached out to me.
Yeah.
She was very interested in explaining how she could get involved, and reached out to me, and so, it was great.
And I think it's always good that young people want to get involved in their community and are willing to serve and willing to put your name out there to serve and be an important part of Winchester.
And Ms. Kincaid, I'll just tell you from my standpoint of it is I do appreciate you, putting your name in with the chamber in regards to this. Last meeting, for me personally, I made it very clear that I wanted one of our members to be serving on that board. I think it was very important. So for me, just so you know, I appreciate your willingness. I appreciate what the vineyard's doing, but I want somebody from the court to be on that. So that was why I'm gonna have to vote no. So I just wanted to tell you personally.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Well, Daniel, to your comment, if we haven't voted yet, but to your comment, and you want Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, what's your tourism experience? I mean, you asked Ms. Kincaid that.
No, that's what I'm asking, that's what I was saying, that the last two that they've asked, that what tourism experience, and again, as
Well,
far as
again,
tourism goes.
Daniel wants you, so what's your tourism experience?
My tourism experience is being here 35 years as a doctor, working in the community, studying the different areas of the town and watching it grow. But as far as having anything directly in tourism, similar, I think
Okay.
so.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, and I think it's a fair question, fair question.
But we wanna make sure you know you're invited to every.
And I'll be there, and I feel happy and very comfortable. Everyone's made me feel very comfortable, and I've learned a lot, so it's good. And I appreciate you, Cindy, bringing someone in so we can talk with them and ask the questions, even though we didn't get to do it by phone. It's great doing it like this. So,
Thank you. So the question before you is to consider an order of the Clark County Fiscal Court to appoint Taylor Kincaid to the Chamber of Commerce Association Tourism Commission. We had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
oh, I said aye, sorry.
Let's do a roll call.
Measure Craycraft,
Aye.
Pasley,
Nay.
Cosentopoulos,
Nay.
Blanton,
Yes.
Davis,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
and Judge.
I'm sorry, what was Miller's vote?
Miller was yes.
And the judge will vote yes.
4-3, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is going to be number 19, to consider an order of the Clark County Fiscal Court awarding the Land Mobile Radio, LMRs, bid to AMK Services, and those are the radios for part of the CSEP program.
Motion to approve.
Funded by CSEP.
Sir?
I said it's funded by CSEP.
Funded by CSEP. We have a motion by Magistrate Blanton and a second by Magistrate Constantopoulos. Any discussion?
Now, I have a question. I'd like to know more about this. The CSEP program's going to wind up here shortly, so why is this necessary? Can you fill us in on
I'm
exactly
sorry,
what's going?
what was your question,
The
sir?
CSEP program's going to wrap up here soon, right?
Yes, sir.
And so why is it necessary to spend $225,000?
Just be clear, we're not spending
Right.
$225,000. The
Right.
CSEP program is, which is reimbursable.
Right.
We're trying to get as many things for the future. When the program does go away, we're updating all that equipment and necessary things to keep the county going beyond CSEP. That's why we're doing it.
Are these the antennas out in the county and so forth? that
They're
being-
not antennas, they're radios.
Radios,
They're
okay.
transmit and receive radios. We currently have 3 receive and 1 transmit and receive, so this is to replace that equipment.
So it will benefit us when CSEP is wrapped up. We will
Yes,
receive
sir.
some benefit from that.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
we're going to benefit from it. What we're doing is we're making sure that we have replacements for those units that are currently in operation.
Okay.
There's still nothing wrong with them, but they're nearing their end of life
I see.
expectancy. So
I see.
we're just making sure that we have replacements for them while we still have the means to do it without using
I
any county
understand.
funding.
No, I agree with that. Good idea.
CSEP pays for them, but all the emergency services utilize them all.
Yes, sir.
It's not just CSEP, it's all the emergency services.
Correct. Those are radios that
Exactly.
all emergency
If-
services,
and if we did-
including road department.
If we didn't have them, we wouldn't have any communication in most of the county.
Correct.
Okay,
Any more questions?
Thank you.
No problem.
thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
So the motion is to consider an order of the Clark County Fiscal Court awarding the land mobile radios bid to AMK Services. And just to remind we originally went out to bid on these. The bids came in higher than the money we had, basically. Went back out and had them, as the chief will explain to you.
Yes, sir. I don't know if this is on, Dr. Miller. I'll speak up
Push
later.
that bottom,
I think that,
it's
Hello.
to hold it.
Try it now. All right. So, yes, you are correct. It was overbid on the project, so we had to change a little bit of it. We were originally asking for 4 transmit and receive radios. It came in over budget, so we couldn't do that. We currently operate with 1 transmit, receive, and 3 receive only. So that's what we're doing. We're replacing it. We have a budget of $250,000. So this project came in under the budget after we rebid the project.
You're
Thank you.
okay with everything with this?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Magistrate Craycraft.
We already had a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You got a second?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, item number 20 is to consider an order setting the 2023 Clark County property tax rate. I think you should have some information packets and things in front of you.
Judge, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, sir. Last year, the tax rate was, well, first of all, we have what's called the compensating tax rate. That means that we set a tax rate that brings in the same revenue that the county received last year. And on top of that, anything basically real estate that was built after the first of the year, that's not included, so that's kind of a little bit of gravy. So that is our first option, is to accept the compensating tax rate. The other one is we can go above that. We can take the compensating rate up to, say, 4%, and that is open subject to voter comments. If we take the compensating rate and go over 4%, it's the same procedure, but it is open to voter recall. So.
But we can also keep it the same or do something else.
Right.
So
Now,
what's your recommendation?
We can, I would like the recommended compensating rate from DLG is, last year was 8.1, and because property values have increased, they're recommending 8 cents per $100 of value, and I think that's where we need to keep it. That would be
That actually would be a reduction, because we was at 8.1.
right. It is a reduction on the rate, but the assets went up, so it gets us roughly the same amount of money.
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion by Magistrate Blanton to go on real property for the a compensating tax rate of 8 cents per $100 of value. Anybody want a second? I'll second that motion, and is there any discussion?
Now, does this keep the tax rate the same as it was last year?
It reduces it.
It reduces it.
Reduce?
It reduces it, but it keeps the revenue, they say, about where it has been.
Right.
But the rate goes down.
Right.
Just,
Property values went up.
I'll support this. One thing, do you feel good with the financial revenue and everything where we're at?
We're going to discuss that in just a few minutes, but a short answer is no. I think that right now this is a time, and I'm really speaking as a taxpayer. I know years ago I heard a lot of talk about cutting the compensating tax rate, and when I looked at my own personal taxes, it saved me $8 a year. Now, I will give you back the $8. I will triple the $8 if you will give me roads, give me services, etc. So I don't think that people object to paying taxes as long as they get something back in return, as they get their money's worth. And I think that is what they hired us to do, is to manage their money and give them the services that they're paying for.
Well, if you don't have the confidence that, and I share that, by the way, I share that concern, especially when we got a jail that's going to be end up a couple $1 million over what we allocated, then we ought to keep the rates right where they were for this year. 8.1.
I think that's probably right.
And let me say this, I was part of the court last year, or last
Now,
term.
the 8.1 will give us more money.
But that's the same rate we currently have.
But it's the same rate.
And I'm good with that too.
It's not a tax cut, it's not a tax
Tax
increase.
raise.
But,
I'm fine with that too.
And if I finish my point, this last term, I mean, I was part of the group that lowered the tax rate every year for 4 years, and we were able to do that, thankfully. But we're probably $1 million or so behind on net profit tax collection. Hopefully, Ms. Blevins is gonna help us with that, we hope. But that's a hope right now. I mean, I have confidence in her, but it's gonna be a lot of work. I'm very concerned about where we're gonna be halfway through this fiscal year, come about January or, well, December, really, before the end of this calendar year. So as much as I advocate for tax cuts anytime we can afford it, I think we need to keep the rates exactly where they are.
I'm good for
In
that.
you know, you made a statement, Judge, about the cutting, we never cut the compensating rate. The rate was, last year when we set the rate, we took the compensating rate, which was a cut from what we paid the
Right.
previous year.
That was a cut, right?
Yes.
That was a
But
cut.
if we leave the rate the same, it's not a tax, we're generate more revenue because
But the
our
rate stays the
property
same.
values have gone up and we've had new developments. So if we leave them exactly the same, we will generate a little bit more revenue than doing the compensating rate at the 8.1.
And I will say, although we don't have any direct control over this, I understand the library board at their last meeting did approve a very slight decrease in their tax rates. So that's gonna be, but they're also sitting on a very large surplus, far more than what the state requires them to set. So
Well,
they're in a very different position than we're in.
Well, I can amend my motion to keep the tax rate the same at 8.1.
I could support that. Much as I'd love to see it go down, I don't think we'd be fiscally responsible.
And that would that be the same for the motor vehicle, leave it the same?
Yeah, we can do them all the same.
Yeah. do them all the same.
10.9 and 10.5,
And I think we collect 0 on watercraft, right?
I think.
Isn't that
I'm
right,
not, I'm
Mayor?
not sure about that.
0 on watercraft?
I think that's right. I believe that's right. I believe you're right.
I'm just trying to see how much money we're talking about here. Last year, the, if the compensating rate, if it would, instead of the 8.1 would be 8, would bring the county in about 2.3 million. Now, if we go above that, we'll have to have hearings on it. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're leaving the rate exactly the same.
We live in exactly the
Okay, so
same.
we
But we'll have to have a hearing. We won't have to.
We
Don't,
won't
no, be less than
It's not a
4%.
tax- It's not a tax increase, it's keeping the rates flat.
So we want to accept the 8.0 compensation?
No, we want to do 8.1, leave it the
8.1.
same.
Okay.
So that would
If
be,
you, if you don't want to second my motion like you did the first one, we can vote on it and I can change the motion to 8.1. But
Judge, it would keep the rate, I asked Ms. McElmore to send me this earlier, which she was kind enough to do. So we're at 8.1 on real estate right now, 10.9 on tangible personal,
10.5.
and then 0 on documented watercraft.
Right.
Now, the library board, they do an across-the-board tax on every category, so I guess they're getting on watercraft and anybody that owns aircraft. But, so that's what it would stay at, under what,
I'm good.
so it just keeps the rates exactly where they are.
8.1.
8.1 on real property.
Well, I'm looking at the order from last year and they had 10.5 on watercraft and motor vehicles.
That's what we were last year.
Oh, we did have 10?
Right there,
Okay,
sir.
yeah.
It says watercraft and motor vehicles, 10 point.
Okay, well, that's what we had last year.
Yep. So did you amend your motion?
Yeah,
Second.
8.1 to keep it the same.
Okay, and I will second that at 8.1.
So the revenue will be between 2.3 and 2.397, so just a tad over 2.3.
We have,
we had 2,050,000 budgeted, so.
Yeah.
That'll be additional revenue, which is good, because, I mean, I've said it before, you know, when we started out the fiscal year, we were $1 million under as far as what our carryover was, and a lot of that had to do with the net profit tax, so.
Probably be just less than 2.350.
We may be in a
Yeah.
position this time next year, we get net profit tax collection where it should be, and, you know, as the real estate assessments continue to go up,
The new developments.
new developments come online, and unfortunately, there's a lot of construction going on, which is gonna help real estate assessments as far as revenue goes. We may be looking to be able to start lowering that rate a little bit again, you know, and as you said, Judge, people get more value for their money, but
This is not the year to cut taxes.
it's, yeah, like the year to keep it where it is.
Yep.
So-
Will the freeze on annexation affect this at all, because it doesn't have anything to
Should-
do
I
with
wouldn't
this?
think so.
Just payroll tax, wouldn't that?
It's just
not gonna
payroll
affect
tax.
This tax.
Doesn't affect property tax.
Okay, any further discussion? So the motion before you is we are going to set the 2023 property tax rate for real estate at 8.1, same as last year. Watercraft at
Tangible, 10.9, and motor
10.5.
vehicle and watercraft at 10.5.
So we want to stay with the 10.5, okay. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, what I wanted to do, just a real quick comment that, you know, we've repaired the elevator in the annex, and after a little tweaking, it seems to be okay. There's still a few little hesitations. We got to looking, there was in the courthouse elevator, it is a type of elevator, if you can picture, it's a box, and it has a long rod that pushes it up to the second floor. Sounds neat. The question is, where does that rod go when the elevator goes to the basement? Well, we opened it up, and you looked in there, it actually goes into a hole in the ground.
A pit.
A pit. Well, it's a shaft.
Yeah.
And normally what they do, when they build those, they will fill that shaft full of sand, wet sand, and then cap it off at the top with concrete. Well, for some reason, this one, however many years ago, it never got done. So the entire mechanism has been in water all these years. And because what we've noticed, it was the dampness, the smell was coming out of it. So what we're trying to do is assess that right now. And the way we have to do that is we are getting the plumbing company out there, and the sump pump appears that it doesn't work either. So we're going to get them out there. We have to have the DC elevators there at the same time to work or control the elevator. So I just wanted to mention that's going to.
Judge, a quick question. DC Elevator's been doing our inspections on these elevators for quite some time, have they not?
Right, they have. We have a maintenance contract.
So my question is why hasn't this been brought to sooner to our, not,
Well-
why has this not been brought to our attention sooner when they're inspecting this? And now they're saying that it needs to be capped, when all along, when they were doing the inspections, they should have seen that it was not capped.
I don't have an answer, but I'm not sure that anybody that they ever looked under in the pit. I don't know. I do not have an answer.
I mean, because that seems like that would have been a whole part of the inspection
You would
process, looking at all the,
You'd
I don't know
think-
how
I'll
an
find out.
elevator inspection works, but
I don't either.
I know they sign off on a little
Well, and
certificate
that-
and all of them.
When you were saying that, that's what I was thinking. The state inspector comes in, and after any work is done, he inspects it, and we put his,
He's usually looking for safety items.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that your
Yeah.
mechanisms that are hoisting you up and down are a pretty significant safety item.
Yeah.
If they're underwater.
But anyway, I just wanted to mention that, and then just a real quick update on the mold remediation situation. For some of the people, real quick, 3 or 4 weeks ago, had a mold situation if you're in Main Street, the top right-hand corner of the courthouse, thanks to the county fire department along with the city fire department, what we found was a plastic water bottle stuck in the downspout. And those old walls over time saturated. So as of right now, we have, these are rough numbers, and what I'm wanting to do is, I'm hoping by next time we're going to have a firm price. We're going to be lucky, I think, on this, that in order to remove only the mold itself, what they call the mold remediation, what I learned through this, we have to have a third party. They come in and write us a protocol, as they call it, which dictates what has to be done to meet all state and federal regulations. So with the mold remediation, which means to go in and basically we're going to strip the outside wall. They are taking out the carpet, all the furniture has to be wiped down, moved out, etc. To do all of that, we're in the ballpark of about $25,000. Now, the good news of that is, we filed with the CAECO for the insurance, and it looks like they're going to cover almost all of it, except for our $2,500 deductible, including the restoration when we put it back. Now, the only thing that CAECO is, and it's about a $6,000 difference, that they may or may not cover, is that under the carpet, under the padding, is the old floor tile. They call it ACM, or asbestos-containing material. AOC is thinking, because they've declared an emergency on this because we had to move the judge out, that they may pick up the cost of removing the asbestos floor tile. But what we're talking about is going back in with a good grade composite flooring. So we should, I guess what I'd like to do, if we could, is the sooner we can start, the better. I don't know if, well, I'm not sure how AOC, I was hoping to have an answer today for you, but they didn't get back. So that's kind of where we're at with that, because the first thing they have to do, the mold remediation company will come in, wipe down all the furniture, everything. It's our responsibility to remove all the furniture. We're going to try to put most of it downstairs in the basement. If Mary hadn't have shown up, we were going to try to use her room, her office. So that's kind of where we stand with that mold remediation right now. The company is called Chase Environmental, and they were actually recommended by AOC. So that's, any questions? Just kind of trying to keep you up to date on that. And then in your packet, the last thing we're doing, we're going to sign the application for the road department to apply for the litter grant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, second, any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, one other quick thing. Okay, that takes care of that. That's the mold. We'll go into magistrate comments now. Magistrate Constantopoulos, number one.
Just one thing, or two things, Judge. On the, I know we've passed several new ordinances with the admin code and so forth. Have those been sent to the codification company so they can get updated?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we stay up on that, and if you can just keep us posted when those get sent to them. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention too is on the financial report, and I meant to do it, but we went through it pretty quick on the agenda. This is that time of year where our bank account gets low until taxes start generating again, and about in October. So, any large purchases that we may be having that come out of the general fund, if we can delay those, I know they may be in the budget, let's delay those until, our tax revenue starts coming in, would be very helpful, so.
I think that's a good idea.
But usually, Robert can attest to this, and I know Magistrate Davis can, is usually this time of the year, the bank account gets pretty low.
So that's more for department heads notice as well as anybody else.
Yeah, but I mean,
If
the
we can-
judge,
if we can
they
delay
report
'em, yeah,
directly to the
yeah,
judge,
exactly.
so I mean, I just want to
Exactly.
pass on my 2 cents worth.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got.
Mr. Presley.
Welcome, Miss Mary.
Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Nothing.
Mr. Miller.
I've got a couple things. First of all, I want to let the young gentleman that was on the bus that got assaulted, I just want to let him know that we're standing with him and we're praying for him and his family. And those kind of things should never happen to an individual, even when you try to stand up for yourself. So I'm hoping that the school board will do the appropriate things for that. Also, on the Generation Center, we are needing, and this is for anybody that's listening here and/or on TV or on YouTube, we need some volunteers for the Generation Center, somewhere on 2 days a week, 2 hours a day from 10 to 12 to take meals to seniors that don't have anything. And we're really shy on that, and I don't even know if people from different boards could volunteer for some of that so that we can actually be actively involved in our city than just trying to have other people do it. But seems post-COVID, everybody just seems really lackadaisical on volunteering on things, and we need that. There is also every third Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. And I think if I was correct, and Jim, you were there, and Les, you were there, was it 27 homes they deliver to, or was it 35 homes that they were living? I know they have 30, I think it's 35 that's on the list that they can't deliver to yet, and they're only doing 27 at the time. Am I correct on those? Somewhere in that area. So we would appreciate any help we can get. You can contact Miss Jasmine Harris at 859-744-3235. That's 744-3235. And you can always get in touch with us if you don't have something to write down. So that's all I have.
Mr. Davis.
Nothing.
Mr. Blank.
Yes, Judge. I saw a week or so ago in the paper, we had decided to take applications for our fiscal court fund, the money we received from the Bluegrass Community Foundation. Two things. The application, which is online, needs to be updated with current dates. It still has the 22 dates on it. And just, have we received our funding that we normally receive in the amount of $100,000+? Have we received that from the Bluegrass Community Foundation yet?
I'm not sure.
We need to check.
Now, I do know there's been a lot of applications coming in.
But we can't give the money out, and we had a big discussion on that this time last year, and the check.
She says it hadn't received yet.
Well, we probably need to request our money immediately so we can have that money, because if applications are due in September the 5th, if we review them in September and October and award them, we need that money in our bank account so we can. I don't expect any problems. I think we got that worked out last year, but
Yeah, so I think the final resolution last year was that they would do it by March 1, so it could predate Mary's appointment, and it may just need to be looked at.
well, according to the treasurer's report, that account balance is still pretty low.
Okay.
And of course, I've only got the one for today, but that account balance, I don't think reflects that additional $100,000.
I'd say you're right on it, you're probably right.
So if you would check with it, and if we need to request it, if we could do that. That's all I've got.
Just on the occupational taxes, a couple days ago, I noticed that the Clark County Hospital, which actually owes the county a large amount of money, had a thing on an email showing all the tax revenue they have spent. For some reason, we're trying to contact them right now, but for some reason, they had a change in staff, a change in something, and evidently, they completely forgot us. And it's a large amount of money.
That's convenient.
We're talking probably $600,000 to $700,000. And right now, we need the money because the checkbook is getting low. And Mary and I have had several discussions on this. We're offering if they will cut us a check, we'll drive and get it. We need the money, and what we're concerned about right now is that with the the larger payroll is coming out the first week of September, first of September, we're going to be very, very low on funds. Now, one thought was that if we could take, say, 600, 800,000 of ARPA money, put that in the general fund, I think that would, and Mary and I have talked about this too, it would probably guarantee us enough money to get through till the 1st of November. So does that sound about right, Mary? Does that sound, I mean, do you feel that because I guess we're not sure how soon we can get the hospital money. So,
If that in, we would be fine.
pardon?
I think if we got that in, we would be fine.
Before,
I'm not used to how low we go. But I'm nervous right now until we start getting that money in November.
Can we get, between now and for the next meeting in September, can we get a list of every company or business in Clark County that has paid the net profit tax and the amount? Is that
we'll
something-
find out.
There is a report that we can run and show what we've posted.
Okay.
With the exception of what we've received in the month of July, because it hasn't been entered in.
Okay.
I guess what he's asking, can we get a list of all the companies that should be paying occupational taxes in the county?
Well, and then the list of those, of course, that have.
That have paid.
We want to
We
see
can
who.
get the list that would be more accurate of what has been paid
Okay,
versus who hasn't paid, because there may be an extension that's not.
But if
that's fine.
if you can see the list between all of us, then I think you ought to mark special or closed session, and then let's discuss
Okay.
that list.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking looking at profit with COVID and stuff, you may have some opposite those. For sure, the payroll is, those are pretty large compared to some net profits, because you've got mom and pops that are out, or they may be a zero. And
Okay.
you're kind of looking for this big amount, but your big amount may be.
Well, but the net profit, it's 5 or more employees, right? So,
5 or more.
so anybody who's just a sole proprietor with no employees, or just he and his wife, or he and his son-in-law, they're not gonna be subject to the net profit tax.
Judge, how long have we known that we haven't been getting this money from the hospital?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. I have heard the question probably a month ago. And I believe a lot of it's our fault. We never pursued, it was never pursued.
I did pursue it,
Okay,
but I just couldn't get any callback.
right.
That's what we discussed, there was.
And that is a real, I mean, I went through 4 today trying to get to somebody that I had to leave a message to call me back.
Well, my suggestion, if it's not been addressed between now and our first September meeting, we need to have that checked off for closed session.
Okay.
Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Elkins?
Well, you know, I urge caution about naming, people obligated to filing tax returns in a public forum. So certainly if there's gonna be discussion involving the names of the entities, I would do that in closed session.
Okay.
What was the due date on these taxes?
April, Yep.
16.
April
And then
15th.
if they filed an extension, then the official not till mid-October.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is, there is nothing for closed session, will be adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Magistrate Miller. I'm supposed to say it.
8 o'clock.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.
Counselor.